We're back with yet another weapon-restricted Ratchet and Clank challenge. This time, we're tackling one of the hardest challenges I've ever seen. Can you beat Ratchet and Clank Future a crack in time using only the Sonic Eruptor? This challenge was suggested by both Mr. Ratchet 12661 and Jez Paleska. And if you have a challenge run you want to see me do, be sure to leave your idea in the comments. I read all suggestions, and if I like the idea, I may just make a video on it. I'm sure my loyal viewers know the rules, but for the sake of the new guys, I'll quickly go over them. We will only be allowed to damage enemies with the Sonic Eruptor. This means no wrench. On top of that, the wrench cannot be used to destroy crates either, though I should note that we will use the wrench for bulk cranks and collecting Zoni. We will be allowed to use any and all gadgets. By the way, we will be playing on a fresh save file, so unfortunately it will be a wrench only run until the second vendor on Quantos, where we can buy the Sonic Eruptor. And we've got a bonus challenge. We will be completing this challenge on hardcore, the hardest difficulty in the game. To really quickly sum up, we can only use the Sonic Eruptor, we cannot use the wrench other than for bulk cranks and Zoni, we can use gadgets. These rules will come into effect once we have the Sonic Eruptor, and for the bonus challenge we will be playing on hardcore. You will quickly see that this is the most interesting challenge run I've ever done. We cut to the centre of the galaxy, where Dr. Nefarious has spent over a year trying to hack into Clank's brain. The Zoni attempt to interfere, but luckily, Nefarious has a boombox on hand.
Not the hypersonic brainwave scrambler.
The hypersonic brainwave scrambler!
Clank wakes up, and we need to get out of here. Unfortunately for the challenge, we will have to give all Clank levels a pass. There are too many enemies in the second half of the game that you need to defeat to open a door. I mean, Clank with a Sonic Eruptor, that's a world I'd love to live in. Getting through the Great Clock is easy, and we get stopped by Nefarious.
Go ahead! Jump!
Oh boy, that aged like a bowl of cereal you leave on the counter. Yikes! We jump to the other side of the galaxy for my favourite game, Ratchet and Quark. Due to the time anomaly caused by Nefarious, they end up crash landing, and we need to find a way of repairing the ship. Now, as per the rule set, this is a wrench only run until the second vendor on this level. This is because we need to get about 4,000 bolts to buy the weapon first, but also because there are a couple of instances of us actually needing to defeat enemies, like when we are saving the children halfway through this level. It's all good though. Exploring the jungle with our captain is always a treat. We find a weapons vendor, but it's the next one that will actually be able to sell us the Sonic Eruptor, so we're going to have to stay wrench only for just a little bit longer. But after saving 3 children and meeting the chieftain, we are then invited back to their village where we can buy the Sonic Eruptor. The rule set is now in play. We can only use the wrench for bulk cranks and Zoni collecting. It's certainly convenient, as right after collecting 2 Zoni, the planet is under assault from Lord Vorselon. But it's okay, the captain will defend the civilians.
For I bring the thunder. You win again, technology!
Okay, I guess not. With our brand new Sonic Eruptor, this encounter is quite easy. Just to remind everyone, the gimmick for this weapon is that when you fire when the frog's lungs are full, it will be a much wider and more powerful blast. This essentially means we need to be very aware in combat to min-max our ammo. The biggest threat from the other Crack in Time challenges were these tanks. These guys can cut you down in less than a second. In this challenge, not so much. A fully charged shot will stagger the enemy for a few seconds, cancelling their wind-up. And yes, you can repeat this. Unfortunately, Vorselon still gets away, but with this third Zoni, we can now fix Aphelion. We follow Vorselon's ship into space. Just when all hope is lost, we pick up a transmission from the captain.
They're coming with food. Oh, thank heaven, they're coming with... Have water? You animals.
Now, this level isn't too bad at all. There are plenty of crates and vendors littered about. In this level, we are introduced to a new gimmick with enemies. 3 tiny robots can combine into a larger one. This should hopefully never really be a problem, as the tiny enemies die in a single shot of the Sonic Eruptor, which again is a shotgun. We eventually find the heroic captain, attempting to talk a child into sacrificing himself so that he might, and keyword with might, be able to escape a little easier.
What's your name? The child. Hurl yourself into this laser wall as hard as you can.
Luckily, we can pull the battery out and help Quark and the civilians escape, but we still have a boss fight left. Vorselon isn't too bad, but it does reveal a very annoying gimmick with these bosses. Obviously, we don't have enough ammo to defeat Vorselon on hardcore. However, these ammo crates will respawn, essentially giving us unlimited ammo for bosses. There is, however, a very key annoying thing with exploiting this. All our ammo must be gone, including the ammo from Ratchet's other weapons, which is why the first rule is specifically about damaging enemies. For this run, I will have to allow us to consume ammo from other weapons, under the specific regulation that the other weapons cannot gain even a single point of XP. If we accidentally do damage a boss while attempting to decrease our ammo, the only option is to reload the save. With all that in mind, defeating Vorselon is no problem at all. To avoid the camera locking on while consuming ammo, I held L1 so that I had complete control of the camera. But this does mean that we don't know where Vorselon is. We do defeat him and we collect a few moons only. I'm not going to go over each moon individually, just know we will be collecting a lot of the Zoni from them. Back with Clank, we meet Nathan Drake, Sigmund.
You got a great ass, Sully.
Who gives us training in the ways of time maintenance. We then get the incredible Clank puzzles. This is the only game in the series when I'm actually looking forward to Clank levels. We meet Clank's dad, voiced by Mario, who gives us the Chrono Scepter. This allows us to manipulate time through slowing it down. After a few more puzzles, we get a boss fight. The Hypersonic Brainwave Scrambler is pathetically easy. Just combo him a little bit and he will go down. Before entering Torren IV, we can actually go to level 3. Now, while we can't actually do any of this level, we can get far enough in to buy the first armor in the game. This will give us a bit more protection a little bit earlier. But anyways, to the actual level. Torren IV has very little combat, but the enemies we do defeat end up leveling our weapon up to max. The frog is now blue, and it deals a lot more damage. This does mean that right now, we are at peak strength, and the enemies are only going to get bigger and stronger. After a few battery bots get found, we also find Alistair Azimuth, who doesn't seem so pleased to see us. After that terrible misunderstanding, he gives us the hover boots. These will allow us to travel around at breakneck speeds, and after a quick timed obstacle course, Azimuth tells us to meet him in Axiom City. We reach the cityscape on Terracnos, and after fighting through the starports of the city, we reach the main plaza, where the general has been causing quite a bit of trouble. Nefarious will be sending waves and waves of enemies at us, attempting to protect Pollux Industries. The first half of this fight is very easy as we have a vendor, but the second half will require some incredible min-maxing. While there is a lot of ammo in crates, there isn't enough for us to not be careful. We are able to do it first try, but just barely, so just be mindful here. Ratchet then needs to activate and power the hologram, and now we ride the power lines. We infiltrate Pollux Industries' air ventilation, which hosts small tanks and several UFOs. There may be a lot of enemies here, but there's a vendor right at the beginning and several ammo crates. On top of that, Azimuth will be aggroing attention constantly, leaving only a few that are attacking us. As mentioned, even the tanks don't stand a chance against a fully leveled up Sonic Eruptor. We infiltrate the computer room to find nothing but nerds.
If you intend to manhandle me, I'll have you know I am a level 60 wizard with melee ability.
We now need to fight the VX-99. This begins with us spinning a few bolt cranks on his body while dodging the lasers he shoots at us. After a few waves of enemies, Alistair Azimuth gives us a ride to the top of the VX-99. With 4 max power shots, we can destroy all 3 shield generators if we position ourselves correctly. Now, for some very bad news. While ammo will respawn in this fight, it is for some reason seemingly hard-coded to be Constructo pistol ammo. I tried for a couple of hours, including reloading the save file several times, but this seems to just be a thing that happens. I think it's due to the fact that this ammo doesn't come from a box, but the boss himself. Regardless, to keep the run alive, we will need to defeat him with the wrench. We will be keeping track of the enemies killed by the wrench up here. We want to keep this number as low as possible. The VX-99 is destroyed and we escape. Nefarious then crashes out.
How could you be so utterly incompetent?
I'll leave you two alone.
We play as Clank a little bit more, and in this segment we are introduced to the only part I don't love in his levels, this weird planet minigame, which is pretty meh. But we do have more Clank puzzles, so it's all good. We then find out that Orvis has been missing for years from a heartbroken Sigmund. Jumping back to Ratchet's quest, before going to Lumos, we head to the arena. Not to complete, but to buy the second armor. Again, a level early. This will cost us 50,000 bolts, but you should have that by now, as all we're really buying is ammo. We land on Lumos and explore the caves. This first area is mostly platforming, so we can just skip over it. After finding out that Azimuth betrayed the Lornbaxes and let Tachyon destroy his race, we need to save the Valads from being decimated by the Agorians. This is a big open battlefield where we need to track down and defeat 5 commanders. Azimuth will lead us to each one and will provide backup too. Luckily, there are several vendors in this level and we also have the second armor, so this area and fight shouldn't be too bad. We then need to fight 2 Hydra tanks. These are kinda tough, but again, we can just jump back to the vendors for more ammo. There will be more enemies coming in, but again, we've got a shotgun. After the ground forces are completely wiped out, we next need to man the anti-air turrets. We then proceed to destroy 40 of the ships and they retreat from the canyon. The Valads, in gratitude, then show us their secret Fulcrum Star shrine, and we use it to talk to Clank, who then tells us to look for a time portal on Zanifar to save Orvis. Now, viewers, are you ready for some really cool funny collision detection trademark? Before this level, we would normally need to get the key card found in the arena to get through a door. While collecting that key card is probably possible, it'll also give us the Negotiator, which will decrease the chance of getting Sonic Eruptor ammo during a boss fight. So we're going to skip getting it altogether. Go just before the Tetramite doorway and jump like this. Ratchet should grab onto a ledge, jump up and walk forward. You are now out of bounds. Now be very careful and follow what I do on screen. This will place us just after the vine door, hitting a very important trigger. You then need to jump here to get back out of bounds. When below the floor, simply jump up to get back in bounds. You will now be past that locked door, and as we have hit the trigger, we can now deactivate the force field, setting the fungoids free and allowing us to progress. If you don't hit that trigger, by the way, pressing triangle here won't do anything, which is why we had to get back inbounds earlier. But hey, we can now travel back in time through the portal to plant a couple of seeds. Travelling back to the present reveals that these seeds have created grind rails for us to reach the oil derrick. With that beautiful oil, we can now assault the stronghold in the past. There's a vendor right here we can keep running back to, so this isn't too tough. We then find Orvis, but we're too late. We proceed to give Nefarious a new scar. Vorselon calls us to show he has captured Azimuth, and we need to save him. Okay, so I've got some very bizarre news. When I entered the second visit to Vorselon, this happened. The ship is completely gone. Now, I have watched a few speedruns and I believe I now know why the game does this. Because we go through Vorselon's warship twice, the game needs to perform a check to see how far along we are in the story. And seemingly, the way it does this is by checking if Ratchet has possession of the Nefarious keycard. card, as we would normally need it to clear the previous level on Zanifar. If Ratchet does have it in his possession, perfect, it loads in the version of the level to save Azimuth. If Ratchet does not have the card in his possession, the game checks to see what version of the level it should load in instead. Since the last action we took on this level was beating Vorselon, the game likely assumes that this has just taken place, because there is no other way to get back to this level. This essentially softlocks the entire save file, because the ship is loaded in the hangar where the game thinks it should be. I did attempt to jump into and out of bounds, and I did get kinda close. We can see the levels loaded in, but this wouldn't really work anyway. If our theory is correct, the level may be loaded in, but the checks and progression won't be. We have two options. We can give up and admit defeat, or we dig deep, bend the rules further, and make the captain proud. Against my better judgment, I restarted the game, and we went back for round 2. James, just reload an earlier save. I don't do earlier saves. I'm one of those freaks that use only one save file in JRPGs. Oh, that's a real nice 200-hour Persona 5 Royal Master file you got there. It would be a shame if you accidentally saved over it. If I didn't change my ways for JRPGs, I ain't changing them for Ratchet and Clank. Anyways, we replay the entire game at length and fully complete the Algorian Battleplex, which includes a cameo from Mr. Quark.
It's Captain Quark. I didn't take a 3-week hero correspondence course to be called Mr.
Now, unfortunately, this does mean that when we run out of ammo in bosses, we only have a 33% chance of getting Sonic Eruptor ammo, meaning from this point on, for every boss, we will need to shoot the Negotiator away from him to deplete it of ammo too. We complete Zanifar legit because I'm not taking any more chances with this shit. And 5 hours later, we're back to where we started. Oh, and the doors open now, but we're going to wish they didn't. This is by far one of the hardest levels in the game. It is partially alleviated with a vendor we can return to, but that doesn't matter when you die in 2 hits anyway. We can luckily stagger the enemies with the Sonic Eruptor, but that won't help us much against Vorselon. He's had a massive buff, and now since we have 3 weapons, we've got a much lower chance of actually getting Sonic Eruptor ammo. This isn't too much of an issue. Again, just enter first person mode and shoot at the walls. Now, this may be a blowing on cartridge fixes it effect, but having the Sonic Eruptor equipped felt like it gave me the ammo more frequently. We can also use the wrench to activate this frost, which will freeze Vorselon for a few key seconds, leaving him open. We then need to deactivate Azimuth's cell. There isn't a single enemy stopping us from doing this, however. We free him, but now we need to escape. This escape goes very well, and in fact we didn't even die once. Azimuth has been able to locate Nefarious's home base, so we're going in for an attack. We jump back to Clank, who seems to be finishing up his duties, before we gain access to the switch to time itself. Not before meeting the plumber, who appears to be lost in Clank's memories.
Your memory banks? Whew, I must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. I thought I was in that green fella's head, what with all the emptiness.
After the last of the Clank puzzles, we unlock the Orvis chamber and listen to Orvis's final message. Clank has been kidnapped and Ratchet needs to race for Vapedia. Now, this level is actually one of my favourites. We need to collect some oil, which is pretty easy, although I'm very happy I caught this on video. The Valkyries take about 4 to 5 shots to be defeated. We, for reference, have 16 ammo. Oh boy, min-maxing is damn near required for this level, though I can't say it isn't satisfying to see 3 of these enemies fly back. We have 3 death courses to partake in. The only one with enemies is the 3rd one. Be sure to wipe out everyone and then use the wrench to throw the battery box. And even more enemies are thrown at us, but it's more of the same. We now need to fight Cassiopeia, who's kidnapped Clank. This fight takes a while, but is pretty easy. Like the other fights, there are respawning ammo crates, but due to the openness of this arena, consuming ammo without hitting the boss is actually very easy. After defeating her, we finally reunite with Clank and head into space. We land just outside of the Nefarious space station to rendezvous with Quark. But we've got to get to him first. Fighting through the barracks on the outskirts is pretty easy. There's plenty of ammo, and on top of that, if you don't want to fight, you can just run past them. We find Quark, who shows us his ingenious battle plan.
Oops,
That's a vacation picture from the Mactar Resort Single Mingle. Don't know how that got in there.
The inside of the station is a massive room-to-room fight. The first area is very easy. We have a vendor here, so at this point all we need to focus on is staying alive. Easy enough. The next room is where things start getting difficult. Firstly, the door to the vendor shuts behind us, so we need to complete this encounter before we can buy more ammo. There is a couple of ammo crates, but the issue is these enemies. Especially the tanks have so much health that even the normal foot grunts take 6 shots point blank to defeat them. But who said we need to defeat them? I did? Shush. More funny collision detection. You can climb and stand on this pipe thing and double jump towards the energy ball. If you do this at an angle, Ratchet will grab the collision of the energy wall, jump up, and he will stand inside the gate. Mash X and go left and you can pass through the gate and skip this room. Now we're only halfway done. Jump on this small part of the wall and do a double jump aiming for this corner. This is a deceptively difficult jump, but if you do it correctly, Ratchet should hold onto a ledge like this. Jump up and enter first person mode. Travel fully inside this wall, but not too far as the collision area is very small. Line up like this and hover boot jump and glide towards the final room. You are not going to be able to make this jump. While gliding, equip the swing shot, and when you reach this spot, perform a wrench hyper strike. This will push Ratchet just barely high enough to get back in bounds. Then, while under heavy enemy fire, get to the air vent and jump around it while mashing triangle. Hopefully before you die, you can activate the cutscene. Now, we have the disguise, and decimate Nefarious's fleet.
I feel very close to you right now.
But now, we're getting ambushed and need to make our escape. There isn't enough ammo to defeat all of these enemies, so what I did was get behind some of them to get them all to friendly fire each other. While this is happening, Quark will be slowly taking down the other enemies. We get stopped by Nefarious, but the captain comes in clutch.
Hang on, cadets! Well, that was 5 bolts wasted.
Ratchet and Clank are then tossed into space. We wake up on Morklon to hear the story of Gimlick Valley, and Clank has an idea. We open a time portal and jump into that battle 10 years ago. We can buy the final armor here, and it's essential you do. It's 250,000 bolts for 50% protection. You should have more than enough bolts, especially if you buy the armor after the first part of this level. There's a vendor here, so while this level is very difficult, the first part of it can be done by running back and forth. Though not only are there lots of enemies, but the Sonic Eruptor needs to be shot 6 to 7 times to defeat a single enemy. After saving the chief, Commander Argos sends down 2 Hydra tanks. The best bet here is to get behind one of them and let all the enemies and the other Hydra tank attack him, as they deal a lot more damage than you. Once one is down, taking down the other one is significantly easier. We then plant some seeds to grind up to the top of the dam to now fight the commander himself. This boss flies around a lot and will use a very fast minigun that can shred us down in just a few hits, even with the best armor. Now, to take care of the minigun, you can take cover behind this slightly higher piece of floor. While waiting for the minigun to run out, we can shoot him with the Sonic Eruptor. In between phases, a few ground troops will come in, just use the Sonic Eruptor as normal and we can take them down no problem. The Star Cruiser will come back with a new attack. He can throw down 3 tracking mines. These can all be destroyed with a single shot. Again, ammo crates will spawn in once all our ammo is consumed. Just make sure you don't damage the boss or enemies. Just repeat for a while without taking any real risks, and we move on to the final phase after some more Agorians, of course. Now for the final and toughest phase. He will almost always be using his minigun, unless he's laying mines. We need to keep taking cover and shooting when it's safe. Do not take any risks in this fight. If you die, you need to get through all 15 to 20 minutes of this fight again. Just keep at it and you will get through it eventually. We travel back to the present, enslave more battery bots and fly back to Nefarious. Most of the actual revisit here can be skipped with some good hover boosting, and we reach the battle. Nefarious is a multi-stage fight, but he does have checkpoints in between phases. On top of that, there are ammo crates here too, just like all the other battles. Nefarious really isn't too bad. The biggest thing we're fighting in phase 1 is RNG. The Sonic Eruptor really doesn't deal much damage, but this is shockingly lore accurate. In between phases, we will need to race around the space station while death itself is chasing us, but these do provide a checkpoint. This is the only time we get them in boss fights. During the second phase, Nefarious will call in some minions and UFOs. Again, just keep on top of your ammo and you should be okay. The final phase may be the longest, but for ammo, it's by far the easiest. Nefarious will occasionally call in lots of tiny minions, and defeating these guys will give us tons of ammo. Just keep at it and Nefarious goes down, with Azimuth coming in just in time to save us, but Nefarious, yeah, he's dead for sure. Ratchet and Clank say their final goodbyes before leaving each other forever. Denied the Great Clock, Azimuth kills Ratchet and Clank is left, but the wisdom of a friend echoes back to him. We then chase Azimuth down with Ratchet, and now for the final showdown. This is really more the same from Nefarious. The boss is tough and takes ages, but that's more to do with the fact that we don't have lots of ammo and need to rely on RNG. But don't worry, we don't get checkpoints here. The only thing of note is that after halfway, all of Azimuth's attacks will be far more powerful, with his single shot becoming a triple and just being faster in general. And unfortunately, as just mentioned, there aren't checkpoints here, so you've got to rely on pure skill. But let's be honest, if you've made it this far, there's only one way this is ending. With Azimuth defeated and only one wrench kill, the flow of time is restored, and the Ratchet and Clank Future A Crack in Time Sonic Eruptor only challenge is complete. Thank you to all YouTube members, I appreciate every single one of you. A specific thank you to Al Gore, Bento Baker Primordius, Friendly Neighborhood Lurker, Invigil, Multibrad X, No One, VenderGames012 on YTB, _XXPitters98XX_, and thank you for watching the full video.